Hello and welcome. I am Liliana and I am here to hang out and talk about the full moon. We're just gonna hang out, get started, give it time for people to come in and join me. I'm just gonna pull a card real quick for myself and for the collective. See what my cards want to tell me about this weekend and this full moon. So we have this Capricorn moon coming up. The moon is already in Capricorn now. It's almost full. It's going to be full tomorrow night. So we are getting ready for that Capricorn full moon energy and gonna talk about it. Who's excited for this Capricorn full moon? I am ready. I'm a Capricorn sun, so the Capricorn full moon is lighting up my solar energy. And like I said, the moon is already currently now in the sign of Capricorn, and it is almost full. And then tomorrow night, July 20th, is really going to be amping up that full moon energy in the sign of Capricorn. It will actually be 100% full in the really early morning hours of July 21st. So this is why your calendar says that the full moon is on July 21st, because in Pacific time, that full moon is at 3:16 a.m. And so for Eastern time, for the East Coast of the United States, that is 6:16 a.m. I had to do math. So it's very, very early in the morning on July 21st. So the night of July 20th is really your prime full moon energy, because it's really building up into that full moon energy, and then it releases in the morning on July 21st. And immediately after the point of 100% fullness, because this moon is 100% full at 29 degrees of Capricorn. So it's full in the very final degree of Capricorn, which means about an hour and 30 minutes after the moon is 100% full, it will move into the sign of Aquarius. So then it will be technically still a full moon, but it won't be a full moon in the sense of it'll be in opposition to the sun by sign. It will be in Aquarius, and so Aquarius versus Cancer is different than Capricorn versus Cancer. So if you really want to get that full moon blessings, then the night of July 20th is your best bet for, if you're making moon water, if you're doing any type of full moon ritual, if you are just meditating and doing affirmations or whatever, or if you're working on reflecting what the Capricorn full moon means for you, that would be the night of July 20th. The night of July 21st, it'll still be full, but it'll be moving away from fullness, and it'll be in the sign of Aquarius, so it's just a bit of a different energy. And we are going to, personally, I'm going to celebrate and have my full moon practice on the night of the 20th. So I was just gonna pull a card really quick and for myself for this full moon. Oops, my cards are not. I dropped my cards. So now I'm trying to pick them up. So how are you guys doing? Who's excited for the full moon? And tell me about what your full moon practice is like, or if you have any questions about this full moon, etc. Is there a way? Okay, I'm not used to doing live, so I need to see how to see the comments. I should be able to just see the comments, right? Oh, look, I got the Hermit. Oh, I can't show the card. Ah. I got the Hermit card, so that is telling me I need to make sure that I take some time for solitude and reflection and do some like journaling and self-reflection, which makes sense because this full moon is in Capricorn and it's in my 12th house. So that's a really interesting place for the full moon to be. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the essence of the full moon needing to balance with the sign of the sun. So the moon is 100% full when it is opposite from the sign of the sun. And the moon reflects the light of the sun from the opposite side of the sky or the opposite side of the zodiac wheel. So this is why the full moon is really about balance. We are in Cancer season, and the moon is going to be reflecting that Cancer light back at us, that Cancer sun light back at us from the sign of Capricorn. And so Cancer and Capricorn are known as sister signs. They are opposing signs, and they are going to teach each other things that they need to know. Like the two sides that are opposite, signs that are opposite of each other really need each other, and they're two sides of one coin. They can't really exist without the other. So Cancer needs Capricorn, Capricorn needs Cancer. If you're operating too far on one side or the other, then your life is going to be out of balance. So if you have a lot of Cancer placements in your chart, you need to remember to bring in Capricorn energy regularly. And the same as with Capricorn, needs to bring in Cancer energy regularly to kind of maintain that balance. So the full moon gives us a really good opportunity for remembering that balance. The sun is in one sign, and then the moon will be bright and full in the opposite sign. And it says, hey, don't forget about these lessons. This opposite side is important too. So with the Cancer season, we're having Capricorn full moon. And this full moon is actually an astrological blue moon, which is exciting because it's the second full moon in Cancer season. At the very beginning of Cancer season, right when the sun entered Cancer, we had a full moon in Capricorn. And now, right at the end of Cancer season, as the sun is getting ready to leave Cancer, we're having another full moon. And this doesn't happen all the time. Maybe once a year, we'll have the astrological blue moon with two full moons in the same sign in a row, or two full moons within the same solar month. So it is unique and special just because it is an astrological blue moon. And we get to do the Capricorn and Cancer balance twice this year. So we did it about a month ago. We get to do it again on the night of July 20th, when that full moon is again in the sign of Capricorn. So this is a really powerful time to do our deep reflection work and our inner self-reflection work. Because like I said, the moon is reflecting the light from the sun. So that is a key word for us, to reflect. So at the full moon, we want to reflect on whether we are balancing these two energies in our life. So Cancer is the cardinal water sign and Capricorn is cardinal earth. Cancer is ruled by the moon and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Cancer has the key phrase of I feel, and Capricorn has the key phrase of I use. So you can see how these two separate energies need to balance each other out. First, there's always a balance between water signs and earth signs. The earth signs need water because without water, the earth cannot be fertile and grow things. Without water, the earth gets like hard and dry, and it cracks and breaks and eventually turns to dust and blows away. So the earth needs water to keep it like nourished so that it can provide all of the fertility of the earth. And then the water actually also needs earth, because it's like the earth creates a solid container. Think of the way a lake or a river holds the water and directs the water, or even just a ceramic cup holding water. Without that cup, the water just spills everywhere and flows everywhere, and then it spreads out and becomes thin and evaporates. Whereas if you have a container to put the water in, you can have, you can direct that water towards a purpose, right? So it's important that we balance between earth and water in our lives on a regular basis. Water generally is associated with emotion and feeling, but it's spirit. It is the essence of spirit, and spirit needs a container. So the earth relates to our physical body, which creates a container for spirit. And earth is the shape of the lake holding the water, and then the moon affects the tides of the water, and Saturn is related to structure and responsibility and maturity. So this is how we get this really important essence of, we have to balance between the moon and Saturn with the Capricorn full moon. The sun is in Cancer, ruled by the moon, and the full moon is in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. So we have lunar and Saturnian lessons coming in at this time. So Saturn is very much going to have a strong influence over this full moon. It is a full moon ruled by Saturn, so we need to bring in those Saturn lessons. But again, let's just look at some of the keywords for both Cancer and Capricorn to get a feel for how these two signs balance each other out. So some Cancer Cancer keywords are nurturing, sensitive, intuitive, comfort-loving, sensitive, as well as dependent and food-oriented, tenacious. Like Cancer has that ability to just really grab onto something and hold on, because it doesn't really want change. Change is scary, and Cancer likes comfort. And then Capricorn keywords are practical, disciplined, structured, conservative. Again, Capricorn also doesn't really like change. It likes things to stay the same, because the same is predictable and easier to know what's coming next. And then other keywords are mature, time-oriented, wise, and sometimes rigid. And so Cancer season, or the energy of Cancer, teaches Capricorn to kind of soften that hard rigidity. And at the same time, Capricorn teaches Cancer how to take all that softness and sensitivity and maybe be a little more disciplined, more practical, more structured, and mature with that energy, right? So I'm going to read an excerpt from my blog. I have a Patreon blog. If you guys want to find me on Patreon, you can go to my profile and find my link. I have astrology updates on my Patreon blog all the time. So I wrote that the Cancer-Capricorn axis highlights the relationship between the deeply personal and the broadly public aspects of our lives. Cancer is the sign of the deeply personal life. It is our emotional selves, our home life, our desire for nurturing, comfort, safety, and unconditional love. While Capricorn is the sign of our deeply public life. It is our career, our social status, our legacy, and our desire to be recognized and acknowledged for our hard work and achievements. So you can see how it is important to have these two areas of life harmonized and balanced. If you are overly focused on your work life and social status, but you're lacking in a comfortable, safe, and nurturing home life, then you're probably going to feel a lot of imbalance and discomfort, right? Like, what is the point of having all of this success in your job if you don't have a comfortable home or a family to celebrate it with, for example? So on the other side of the spectrum, you can have a safe and nurtured home life, but without the satisfaction of satisfying work and external like creation or mature expression, you might feel unfulfilled. You don't want to just be like at home being taken care of by other people all the time. We like to feel productive. We like to feel like we are creating something of value in the world, right? And that's kind of the Capricorn side of things. So we definitely need to have both. So this is about like balancing that energy is very much related to the full moon. Thank you so much to those who are joining me for this live. If you like what I'm saying, give me taps and likes and leave comments, ask questions. I would love to hear from you, and we can take the discussion in different directions if you have questions. So with this Capricorn full moon, we are balancing the energy of Capricorn and Cancer. The sun is in Cancer, and we have been exploring this season of the archetype of Cancer, which is emotional vulnerability. And we understand that we need a safe and secure home base where we can let our guard down and be emotionally vulnerable. Because in the state of emotional vulnerability, that's where we are truly open to receiving true nurturing and tenderness and comfort and love, right? We have to like open ourselves up and make ourselves vulnerable to receive the compassionate, nurturing, caring of others, or just to allow ourselves to like rest and sleep. Like the process of like crawling into your bed and falling asleep requires some vulnerability, right? Taking a nice self-care bath requires relaxation, and that requires some vulnerability. So all of this is stuff that's related to Cancer. But there's this aspect that we have to consider with this Cancer energy of like, to be able to crawl into that bed and fall asleep, we need to feel safe. And so here's where the aspect of Capricorn is really important for Cancer, is we have to consider the rules and regulations that maintain our sense of safety. So this is where the Capricorn energy comes in. We need strong, solid walls and a sturdy roof to protect us from the elements, or we're not going to have a good, safe, secure sleep, right? Or a nice, safe place to take a bath and do our self-care if the house is falling down and the roof is leaking. So we're in the height of summer in the northern hemisphere, and this structure keeps us cool. And in the height of winter, this structure keeps us warm. I'm talking about the structure of the home, because Cancer is about the home, but we really need like Capricorn energy to have built that home. Otherwise, it's not going to be strong enough and secure enough to withstand the harsh weather. And we're then not able to be truly vulnerable and comfortable in that home. So we need a safe place to store our food that we're going to use to nourish our bodies. Cancer is very much about the nourishment of the body, the enjoyment of the food, taking with what we take into our body. And also, in order to feel safe and secure, we also have rules about what happens in our house. We have rules about who can and cannot enter. We have rules about what time we allow company to come over versus what time we don't want company. We have times when we want things to be quiet and calm. And we also have other times when it's acceptable to have music on and have company over. So there's rules and regulations and restrictions that are set in place to maintain the comfort and safety of our home. So you're starting to really see how Capricorn and Cancer really work together, because your comfortable, safe, and nurturing Cancer home experience depends quite a bit on the structure, authority, and rulemaking energy of Capricorn. So this full moon with the sun in the very late degrees of Cancer and the moon in the very late degrees of Capricorn is occurring on the night of July 20th and the very early morning hours of July 21st. I'm on the West Coast, USA. I'm in Seattle area. So for me, it's Pacific time, and that's going to be at like 3:14 a.m. Let me double check. 3:16 a.m. is when the moon is 100% full on the night of July 20th, which is the early morning hours of July 21st. So we are working on making some plans to balance our Capricorn and Cancer energy. We need to be checking in that we are bringing in balance both Capricorn and Cancer energy into our lives. So we are going to be double checking that we are doing the Cancer thing of having safe, nurturing home environments where we can be vulnerable, and then double checking that we have our Capricorn affairs in order too. So we are being mature and responsible with our resources, and we are taking care of like the basic things that need to be taken care of, like fixing the roof and paying the bills. So, is there any questions so far or anything you guys want to discuss? Because I'm going to get to talk about some of the tarot cards that are associated with this specific full moon. So we have the Four of Cups and the Four of Pentacles, and those cards are very specifically the tarot cards of this full moon. So I have a podcast in which I talk about tarot cards and their association with astrology. If you are interested in the combination of both tarot and astrology, give me a follow, and you can find all of my links in the link tree on my bio. So we are going to talk a little bit here about the energy of these two tarot cards, the Four of Cups and the Four of Pentacles. So the late degrees of Cancer, the final 10 degrees of Cancer from 19 through 29 degrees, or 20 through 29th degree of Cancer, are associated with the Four of Cups. Four of Cups tarot card. And the Four of Cups represents this emotional, like, contemplation, introspection, and a sense of sometimes dissatisfaction or apathy. We see this figure like sitting and gazing at three cups while a fourth cup is being offered to them. And this suggests that you might be feeling in some way unfulfilled or discontent, possibly overlooking some opportunities or blessings in your life due to focusing on what is missing or disappointing. So the lessons of the Four of Cups emphasizes the importance of taking time to reflect on your emotions and reassess your desires. Where are you feeling unfulfilled? Where do you think that you need a little something extra? You want to be able to appreciate what you have and move out of this state of stagnation or boredom by recognizing and appreciating what you have and being open to new opportunities that may lead to more emotional growth and fulfillment. So this is where the sun is at right now. The sun is in this final decan of Cancer, and that is related to the Four of Cups tarot card. So we can use the Four of Cups tarot card as one of the points to study or meditate on during this full moon, because we're coming at the end of Cancer season. We've had a lot come at us during Cancer season, and a lot of lessons, a lot of vulnerability, a lot of emotions, and now we have to kind of take some time to sort all of those feelings out and understand where any of our feelings of discontent or apathy or stagnation might have been coming from. So I do have a full podcast episode all about the Four of Cups. If you find me on my places to find me, you can listen to the full episode relating to that. And that card is a card of the moon, and it is a card of the sign of Cancer. And you can see this lunar and Cancer energy here in this card. So if you're feeling a little bit of this right now, this is why. It's just, that's the feeling, that's the vibe of the end of Cancer season. And then on the opposite side of the wheel, we have the moon in the final degrees of Capricorn. And those last 10 degrees of Capricorn, that third decan of Capricorn from 20th through the 29th degree, is related to, the Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles is a card of Capricorn, and it is a card of the sun, and it is a card specifically of the last 10 degrees of Capricorn, and that's where the moon is going to culminate into fullness tomorrow night. So this card, the Four of Pentacles, symbolizes a state of holding on to material stability and security, and sometimes to the point of being resistant to change. So in this card, a figure is clutching 4 coins, creating a sense of possessiveness and guardedness. Like, I've worked hard for this, I don't want to let it go. So this card suggests a focus on financial or material concerns, emphasizing the importance of stability and the desire to safeguard your resources. There is a correlation with the astrological sign of Capricorn, as both share a penchant for practicality, a strong work ethic, and a desire for financial stability. This person in this card really cares about being predictable and having financial security and being practical and having a strong work ethic. So, however, this card can serve as a cautionary reminder about the potential pitfalls of being overly cautious or resistant to change. So this card can sometimes represent the need to be more guarded and more practical, and sometimes it can represent the need to be less guarded and less predictable and less practical. Like, sometimes it's saying, hey, you need to loosen up a little bit, and sometimes this card is saying, like, no, you need to batten down the hatches and be really guarded and practical. But this card usually wants to warn us about the need to be less possessive and less materialistic, because it's not always directly about money, but it can be about our relationship with money, right? So it encourages us to balance between the pursuit of stability and the openness of new opportunities that might lead to personal and financial growth. Like, we have to be willing to take a risk sometimes in order to experience more growth and prosperity. So on this matter of like, Capricorn is so often associated with just like money, 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 CEO, big business energy. Like, everyone thinks Capricorn and they think it of the archetype of like capitalism and the boss, the CEO, Jeff Bezos, blah, blah, blah. And I just like to remind people the archetype of Capricorn existed before capitalism existed. So it's really limiting to just interpret Capricorn in this capitalistic profit CEO business manager type of way. Because really Capricorn energy is more about like the energy of excellence, the energy of like, I want to be the best I can be. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean in career or being rich or becoming a boss, right? It's just about like becoming the best you that you can possibly be, achieving greatness in some way. And it also, the Capricorn archetype really relates to building a legacy, building something that's going to last longer than just you, that you are remembered by, or just something that people enjoy long after you are gone. So it has this timeless quality of creating something that lasts. And that's not necessarily a business or a career, but like, that can look like a lot of different things and be not so materialistic as people want to say that Capricorn is. I might be biased. I'm a Capricorn sun, so but it is frustrating sometimes when all of the memes of Capricorn are about making money, and it's like, there's lots of ways to experience success and create a legacy and strive for excellence that don't necessarily involve capitalism and like this get rich mentality, right? So these two cards for our Capricorn full moon, are, where we go? There we are. Sorry, it blinks in and out because I've got the background screen on. But we have the moon in Capricorn with the Four of Pentacles card, and the sun in Cancer with the Four of Cups card. So both of these combined are really urging us, I think, to take some time to reflect about what we really value, right? What do we actually care about? What do we actually need to feel fulfilled? And then, how can I be responsible with my resources, with my energy, with my time, to make sure that I am working to achieve this and find this happiness that I'm looking for, but I'm not being immature. I'm being responsible, and I am guarding my resources wisely, so I'm not spending all willy-nilly, and I am looking to the future to like build something substantial, right? So those are some really good cards to study for this full moon. And you can also look at your birth chart. So look to where you have Cancer, especially the last degree of Cancer and the last degree of Capricorn, and look to see what houses those are in your birth chart, and if you have any planets nearby those placements. And then think about how these cards might be coming into play in those houses or around those placements in your birth chart at this time, because these are the cards that represent the final degrees of Capricorn and the final degrees of Cancer. and that's where the full moon and the sun are at this time for tomorrow night's full moon. So we have the Four of Pentacles and the Four of Cups. And then it's also important, I think, to reflect on Saturn in Pisces at this time, because the full moon is ruled by Saturn. So when the full moon is in Capricorn, that means that the full moon is ruled by Saturn, because Saturn rules Capricorn. So that means that whatever Saturn is doing right now is especially relevant to the lessons of this particular full moon. So we have Saturn in Pisces, and it is retrograde. And there is a specific tarot card for when Saturn is in Pisces, and it is the Eight of Cups. So Saturn is really, the taskmaster of the zodiac. It represents discipline and structure and the pursuit of our long-term goals. And Saturn's influence is like the wise teacher that imparts valuable life lessons through challenges. It's like, I'm going to test you and see how responsible and mature that you are. So Saturn teaches us the importance of hard work and patience, perseverance, and building a strong, solid foundation for your ambitions. Saturn wants you to succeed. Saturn is not the punisher. He is the wise tester. He's testing you and saying, like, the things that you want in life are going to be more enjoyable if you earned them and you got them fairly. Like, if you are being immature and playing games and just expecting other people to give you whatever, and you're maybe not playing by the rules, then you're honestly probably might get some kind of benefit from that, but it's not going to be long-term benefit, and you're not going to feel proud of it, right? Saturn wants you to feel proud of your achievements because you've worked hard. So Saturn wants you to learn how to work hard towards a goal and be responsible and mature with your energy so that the rewards that you do get, you can feel good and proud about. So Saturn rules over time and the maturation process. That's why it is related to the Lord of Time. It is about structure and time. So this emphasizes the significance of like delayed gratification and the rewards that come with sustained effort. So Saturn doesn't give you like rewards, just instant gratification. It's more about like the gratification that comes from spending a long time working on something. So Saturn is definitely giving us lessons about facing our fears, embracing responsibilities, and understanding the value of enduring hardships for the sake of personal development and long-term success. So this moon, the moon that is this full moon that's in Capricorn, is ruled by Saturn. So we really want to tune into some of these Saturn lessons. So Saturn in Pisces is teaching us about responsibility and structure in the realm of Pisces. And Pisces relates to religion and faith, spirituality, fantasy, creativity, mental health. And it's kind of this liminal in-between space where we experience our hopes, our dreams, our imagination, and our beliefs, kind of spiritual stuff. So what's up with Saturn being in this sign that's kind of so hard to define and nail down? So Saturn is offering us a lot of lessons about self-awareness and spiritual growth, and having a disciplined, structured approach to understanding our inner world and our spiritual beliefs. So Saturn is really like emphasizing the importance of having like a grounded, mature approach to all of these Pisces things, which are deeply emotional, intuitive, and spiritual. So while Saturn is in Pisces, and while having this full moon ruled by Saturn, it's a good time to be looking at what kind of structure you have for your spirituality and your beliefs. Could you benefit from a more structured practice or some more practical guidelines for following your spiritual path? Like, that's something I think Saturn in Pisces is really asking us, and this full moon is really emphasizing these Saturn lessons. Thank you so much for the gift. And for everyone who is listening, let me know if you have any questions or need clarification. Type your comments, let me know. I'm talking right now about Saturn because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and this full moon tomorrow night is in the sign of Capricorn. So Saturn is really like in Pisces, offering us a journey of spiritual growth and spiritual responsibility. It wants us to take a disciplined and mature approach to understanding our spiritual life, our inner emotional world, and navigating the waters of emotion with resilience and maturity and responsibility. Because sometimes we get into these Pisces feelings and we revert to like a kid or someone who wants to feel like a victim because these feelings are too much, and it's easier to blame it all on someone else and feel like a victim. But Saturn really doesn't want us to have a victim mentality. Saturn wants us to take ownership of our own responsibility for our life. So we wade into this realm of Pisces, and it is gonna be like Saturn is like, you gotta own that, own that shit. The goatfish moon. Yes, it is the goatfish moon. We have our Capricorn goatfish ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is in Pisces, so it's extra fishy. So this tarot card, the Eight of Cups, is the tarot card of Saturn in Pisces. So I'm going to collect my thoughts here. So we see like this watery landscape, and it's night, and there's like this crescent moon in the sky, and this person's like walking away from all of these cups, right? So in tarot, the cups are generally used to represent feelings, emotions, intuition, and spirituality, which is why is this figure walking away towards this potentially like treacherous, dangerous looking background? Why are they walking away from that when they have all of these cups right here? Like, this is safety. Their emotions are in order, but they're walking away. So this card can symbolize the metaphorical or literal like walkabout or sabbatical, when we have learned all that we can from one place or one situation, and we recognize that we still have more to learn, but we have to go somewhere else to get it, or we have to do something differently than what we've been doing in order to learn these other lessons. So it can be kind of a difficult choice, but there's a strong sense that there's like, we're driven by an intuition that like there's something over here that I have to learn that's going to fulfill me in a different way. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging, but like, I have to go. It's kind of like, I don't know why. I don't know what's over there. It's scary, but I have to do it, right? So perhaps there's a sense of dissatisfaction, like we talked about here with the Four of Cups, or sometimes it's just a quest for something new or a quest for deeper understanding, especially when we're talking about Pisces. Pisces wants to go deep. Thank you, VBs, for joining, and I'm glad that you were here with me for a little while. All right. Filling out your calendar with art projects equals mystical discipline. Yeah, like there's a lot of ways to like make our spiritual practice a little more disciplined. Having a regular meditation practice, adding to your calendar like things that you're gonna do for self-care, listening to a teacher or a guru teach you about spiritual stuff. These are ways that you can add more structure and discipline to your spirituality with Saturn in Pisces and with this full moon. So they're off on a journey, and there's a quest for deeper understanding and a desire to see like what's over here. What am I going to learn, right? When are they going to come back? They don't know. They don't know if they're even ever going to come back. So things in this watery realm are shifting and changing a lot, but they have to go with the flow because Pisces is about going with the flow. And all of this is very Piscean. And there's also this Saturn sense of responsibility here and discipline, because this image is not of someone simply walking away from what is familiar and safe on a whim or because they're being carefree and whimsical. This card implies that there is a sense of duty and responsibility in this journey. They're being called away for some great work or to undertake some great lesson. And they know it's not going to be easy. Like, it's painful to walk away from these cups. But there's a sense of duty. There's a sense of responsibility, and that's the Saturn energy of this card. Again, I'm talking about the Eight of Cups for those who are just joining, because the Eight of Cups is the card of Saturn in Pisces, or it is a Saturn card and a Pisces card. And the full moon on the night of July 20th is in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So what Saturn is doing in Pisces right now is really important for this full moon. So they know it's not going to be easy. And Saturn calls us to task in a way that is sometimes uncomfortable, but worthwhile, right? Saturn calls us on a long-term journey that's not going to give that instant gratification, but it's going to be worthwhile. It's not necessarily going to give us immediate answers, but it's a quest that slowly reveals richness and value with time, with determination, with commitment, and with discipline. So Saturn calls us to examine the rules or structures that we need to follow in life. And Pisces is about feeling, emotion, belief, faith, and spirituality. So this card really symbolizes a calling. Saturn's giving you a calling to go on a difficult journey to kind of examine what rules and structures we need to follow for the betterment of our spiritual practice and our emotional well-being. So Saturn wants us to be mature adults and make mature choices rather than have to be told by others what we need more of or less of. So Saturn is really like, are you ready to take ownership of your own emotional and spiritual needs? Or are you going to continue acting like you're a victim and acting like it's all everybody else's fault? You need to take responsibility for your own path. And that's what Saturn in Pisces is really urging us to do. Take responsibility for our own path and explore, like, what are the structures of my spirituality? What are the boundaries? What are the limits or rules that are good for me? And what are the limits or rules that are holding me back that I need to break free from? Because Saturn isn't always just about obeying the rules. It's about knowing which rules apply to you, knowing which rules are good for you, and being willing to break free from certain restrictions that are not good for you. So Saturn lessons often bring up some kind of restriction, and the key is Saturn is saying, like, here's a boundary, here's a restriction, what are you going to do? And you have to have the maturity and the responsibility to know when the restriction is for your own good versus when a restriction is actually holding you back or oppressing you in some way. So, yep. Jenna says, my partner is on his Saturn return with the Capricorn moon, and this is going to be a weird day for him. Absolutely. If you have a Capricorn moon, or if you are in your Saturn return, this full moon is really laying it on thick. And whether something physically happens or it's just an internal feeling, like there's a lot going on internally for people right now that are going through their Saturn returns, or that are people who are natally a Capricorn moon. Or if you have other Capricorn placements in your chart, it might feel kind of heavy too, because it's like this full moon, it's ruled by Saturn. There's a lot of Saturn lessons coming through right now. It's like we're having 3 months of Saturn ruled full moons, because the last full moon was also in Capricorn. The one that was at the end of June was a Capricorn full moon. This is a Capricorn full moon. And then the next full moon is going to be an Aquarius full moon. And Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn. So Saturn is really like bringing it for like 3 months of full moons. We are having 3 Saturn ruled full moons in a row. So this energy, this lesson, the Saturn retrograde and Saturn in Pisces, is ongoing, and not just for this one night, but especially relevant while the moon is full. All right, I want to thank you guys so much for joining me and letting me talk about the full moon with you guys. Do you have any questions or reflections, or just any other thoughts and ideas about how to balance the Capricorn and Cancer like sides of your life, or how it's gonna go for you? Like, I'm happy to hang out for a little bit longer, but I am gonna be ending the live for pretty soon. A Capricorn with an Aquarius moon, oh boy. Yep, that's gonna be like 2 full moons in a row, 3 full moons in a row really coming at ya, because you've got that Capricorn energy, and then next month we get the Aquarius new moon. Hey Stelumi, yes, we are just hanging out, Capricorn and Pisces. Yep, because we got the Pisces, Saturn in Pisces is really the, like, it's like wherever the moon is, it kind of highlights or illuminates the ruling planet of that moon. So when the moon is in Capricorn, Saturn gets the spotlight. When the moon is in Aries, Mars gets the spotlight. When the moon is in Pisces, Jupiter gets the spotlight. So you always want to look at the ruling planet of the sign that the full moon is in to really get like a little bit deeper with what this full moon is about. On that topic, like, I know people really like to make moon water and to put their crystals out to charge under the full moon, and to make their moon water under the full moon. But I would say, like, always kind of take in, like, what is the ruling planet of this full moon, and what is that planet doing? Because that's going to be, like, in your moon water, or also, like, cleansing your crystals too. So it's really good, I think, if you have crystals specifically for structure and safety and discipline, yes, put those out under this full moon. But if you have a gemstone or a crystal that's like, this is for when I want to feel comfortable and safe, you might not want to put that one out under the Capricorn full moon, because it's gonna get infused with this like disciplinary hard work energy. So, and the same with like your moon water. Like the moon water, if you're going to use that moon water in a spell for having more structure and more discipline in your life, yes, make that moon water during the Capricorn full moon. If you're making that moon water because you want to like have more psychic abilities, maybe not. Maybe this isn't the best moon for that. Capricorn is really grounded, and Saturn in Pisces is kind of like we need to stay grounded and focused and have like a good spiritual practice. Would I recommend any stones? So the black gemstones that are like protective, I think that the Saturn Capricorn energy is going to be really good for charging those protective stones, as well as your prosperity stones. So your greens and your aventurine and stuff that is associated with prosperity, you want to get that out under the Capricorn moon for sure. Just keeping in mind that like Capricorn lessons are not about giving you instant gratification. So those charged stones are not going to be bringing you the energy of like winning the lottery. They're going to bring you the energy of like, if you work hard, you're going to get a raise. Or they're going to bring you the energy of like, if you're putting in the effort, you're going to get some kind of reward for that, right? So I think that there's a nuance to making your moon water and charging your stones under the full moon that isn't talked about very often. So I just wanted to touch on that very briefly. There are certain moons where I'm like, I don't want water with that energy, so I'm not going to use that. And I'm just going to wait until the next full moon or whatever. Or, you know, certain ones where I'm like, this is really good for charging these stones, but not so good for charging these other stones. I don't feel like this is the best moon for charging my, like my heart chakra stuff. But it is really good for charging my root chakra stuff and my motivational stones, maybe like a tiger's eye, maybe something grounding, maybe like something for prosperity and hard work. I want to get those stones out there and then use those stones for Capricorn work after I have charged them under the Capricorn full moon, because the full moon light and energy is programming those stones with Capricorn and Saturn lessons. So I want to not just charge them, but then I want to use them and carry them with me and maybe have some goals set with working with those stones that are kind of Capricorn and Saturnian. Okie dokie. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope that you have gotten a lot out of this. I hope that you will follow me. I want to go live like this more often. And if you guys like listening to me talk about astrology and the moon and tarot cards, then give me a follow so that you get notifications when I go live again, and interact with the rest of my content too, because it makes me feel good and it makes me happy to see that other people are enjoying it. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you again soon, and I really hope that you have a very rewarding and happy full moon tomorrow night. All right, bye. If I can figure out how.